authentic and real as possible. So I want to share with you what I think is the truth about time management. We'll talk about how to remove or identify or mitigate current barriers to managing your time. What's really getting in the way? I also want to talk about how to refine and adapt certain time management tools to help you prioritize or manage your email a little bit better. So that's the arc of what we're going to talk about today. Before we dive into the how to manage time and our week and all of that, I would be remiss if I did not take a minute to talk about the elephant in the room. And just drop it in the chat box. What do you think the elephant in the room is as we sit here in our fresh new year? Anybody? What's the elephant in the room? Cell phones. Yes, that's the small elephant. It's a baby elephant. Telework. Yeah, not enough time in the day. Yeah. Working from home. Meetings. Yes. Spaceships. I love that. COVID. Thank you. Omicron. There you go. Yeah. Everybody's got their challenges right now. Everybody agree with that? Everybody's going through something. And we here in the United States, we just marked the 1-year anniversary of a violent armed insurrection where people tried to overthrow the government. We've seen unprecedented climate events all around the planet, social and political turmoil, economic turmoil all around the planet. We are now in our 22nd month, at least here in the US, of the pandemic. And so from COVID original to the current total of 12 variants, COVID is like the DJ Khaled of viruses. Here's another one, right? Almost everybody on the planet is currently experiencing prolonged uncertainty, stress, and trauma. Anybody agree with that? And you know, the truth is, nobody knows when all this is going to end. And so while, you know, there might be a tool or a structure or a format to manage your time, the elephant in the room is all of this. Before we get to that, we need to focus on managing our uncertainty, managing our stress, and managing our trauma. Some of us need to be in therapy right now. Some of us need to be in counseling. Some of us might need some medical attention. Some of us might need a vacation. Is this resonating with anybody? Control, yes, Alfred, control what you can control. So if you feel like you are at or beyond your capacity to manage it all, I would seriously invite you to do whatever you can do within your control to step back, put your mask on first, and take care of you. Whether that's a week off, if you can swing it, or it's a day off, or it's 5 minutes. Just stop. I need 5 minutes to just breathe. Do that. Because, you know, if you're at or near your mental, physical, and emotional capacity, you're not going to manage anything well. Not time, not your priorities, not your to-do list, not your life. So I am throwing down the gauntlet. I am making a plea for you to, in 2022, write this down, prioritize self-care. Prioritize self-care. You feel me? I know everybody's got a different situation. Do what you can. Do what you can within your world. Ask for help. Make time for healing. Whether that's vacation or exercise, meditation, medication, get professional help, consult a professional, all right? I want to share one more elephant that's in the room. And it's the reason why I think so many people are struggling right now, and it's not all the others, it's all the other stuff that I mentioned, but it's that they're trying to do what they've always done, and life has flipped the script on them. Does that make sense? Pre-COVID, we all got into our habits, our patterns of doing things, right? We got up at a certain time, and we did certain things, and we went to work, and then we did stuff, and then we came back home, and we did family stuff and personal stuff. We got into our habit. We got into our groove. COVID pops up on the scene and says, hold my beer. I'm going to wreck all of that for virtually everybody. Maybe there's a tribe somewhere on an island that has been largely untouched by this, but for most of the rest of us on the planet, COVID has wrecked everything. And it has been from a mild inconvenience on one end of the spectrum of impact all the way to absolute catastrophe and fatality on the other end of the spectrum and everything in between. And I think one of the things that people are struggling with right now is how do I keep doing the same thing when life is telling me I can't? Is this resonating with anybody? I'm used to getting up and doing a certain thing, but now I can't go to work because if I do, I could die or I could get sick or I could infect other people. And so I think one of the big struggles that many people are having right now is how do I fit this square peg into a round hole? You can't. You have to adapt. And one of the things I think COVID has done, it has catalyzed a social evolutionary era. We are in the middle of an evolutionary cycle, folks. This is not just pandemic, this is evolution. COVID is forcing us to evolve. It's forced us to change how we work, when we work, where we work. It has given us, forced us to experiment, to change, to examine all of that. Yes or no in the chat box. How many of you would say, yes, I actually like working from home, either full-time or most of the time? Who likes working from home? Who does not like working from home at all? Say no in the chat box. Really enjoy, prefer hybrid. Love that, Carly. And hybrid is one thing a lot of organizations are working on. It's like, okay, how do we, do some work from home, some work in the office? Right? Oh, I got to move that over there. Yeah. And so this is what I think part of the struggle is. And again, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about this, is we talk about trying to manage time. What we're trying to manage is our evolution. How do we change the nature of where we work? While working from home has a lot of advantages, like, yay, no commute. And I don't have to worry about what I wear necessarily. And I can just get to work immediately and I can work whenever I want. It also has some downsides. Like if you're trying to manage a small child by yourself, if you're trying to manage, other people, if you're trying to figure out schedules, yeah, it's been a challenge for a lot of folks, right? All right, see, many of you love working from home. One person says they hate working from home. Hard to do when you have to juggle a lot at the same time. Yeah, it's not the panacea for everybody. So I want you to keep this in mind. This is our opportunity to reinvent how we do work and to design it in a way that works better for us, right? That's going to take a minute. And by a minute, I mean months or a couple of years, right? But remember what Darwin said. Darwin said, it is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. He never said survival of the fittest. He said it was survival of the most adaptable. And that's what we have to do. If we're going to manage our time, our week, our lives, our work, our families better, we have to put adaptation first. We have to be able to adapt. All right. Let's talk about the truth about time management. Here's the truth about time management. Ready? Ready? Here we go. There's no such thing as time management. Wait a minute. I thought I was going to get some tools and tips for how to manage time better. Yeah, I'm trying to be honest with you here. There's no such thing as time management. Time doesn't exist in nature. We made it up. It's not like there's a robin sitting on a tree with a Rolex going, hey, if I'm really early, I'll get the worm. No, time does not exist in nature. We created it with sundials and grandfather clocks and Rolexes and the master clock, the atomic clock, etc. We made it up, right? The work week, we invented that. The 40-hour work week, we invented that, right? And so many of us feel like we're on this giant wheel, just spinning, spinning, spinning ever faster, trying to get it done, 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 right? Time cannot be managed. Time is a fixed thing. Tick, tock, tick, tock. You're not going to manage that, right? What you manage is what you do in the space of those ticks and tocks. So if time can't be managed, you were on that spinning wheel. I hear you. I hear you, Sophia. If you can't manage time, what can you manage? Well, what can you manage? You can manage this. And as I go through this list, I want you to note which of these you think you want to do a better job, need to do a better job with in 2022. Number one, setting priorities. Scheduling tasks. You can manage that. Keeping track of what we need to do. Where we place our attention, you can manage that. You can manage estimating the time it takes to complete things. You can manage how you respond to interruptions, what you say yes to, what you say no to, how you say no without getting a reputation for being someone who says no all the time. You can manage your response to other people's urgency. You can manage how you deal with email. Those are things you can manage. You're not managing time. You're managing those things that happen within the space of the construct of time. Does that make sense, folks? I love what Sheila said in the chat. All of those. I need to do better with all of those. Attention, too much time on TikTok. I hear you. Don't be too proud to ask for help. Absolutely, Alfred. Right. All of the above. Thank you, Maria. Lena, yes, thank you. So which of those really needs a bit more focus? And what I would invite you to do is pick one of those. Just pick one of those and work on it this coming week. Work on it this coming week. If it's setting priorities, then sit down and figure out what's the most important thing for you, for your team, for your company, for your family. What's the most important thing that you would like to accomplish this next week? If it's just sitting down to plan and schedule, then carve out a little bit of time every day where you give yourself like 10 minutes and go, okay, I'm going to plan my day. I'm going to plan my week. Maybe you have a focus, right? Maybe you say, Sundays will be my personal time, family time. Mondays will be my focus on budget issues or money. Tuesday will be my team check-ins. Wednesday will be my priority focus on projects. Thursday will be my customer service or outreach. Friday will be my review and planning for the next week. Saturday will be my chores day. So you can have a theme for each day of the week, right? I'm not saying this is the end all be all. I'm saying it's a way to look at how you do your life, how you manage your week. Have a different theme or focus for each day. Break your day up into different sections. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Is this making sense, folks? There you go. Rahul, use Google Calendar and Task app, right? Yes, the session is recorded. It will be available on offsite. Who likes pie? Anybody like pie? Pizza counts as pie too, right? Okay. I view time as a pie. Go with me here. Time as a pie, okay? There are rules of time pie. Here are the rules of time pie. Number one, everybody's pie is 24 hours big. It's not like I've got a 32-hour pie and Carly has an 18-hour pie. Everybody's pie is 24 hours big. Rule number two, no one knows if they'll get all 24 hours each day. We plan like we're going to be here forever, but there were folks who went to sleep last night with a plan for the day and they didn't wake up this morning. I don't mean to be, a downer or morose, but I'm just saying you don't know if you're going to get all 24 of those hours. Third rule of time pie, you can't get more pie. You can't go to your neighbor and go, hey, I'm out of time pie. Can I borrow a couple of slices of time pie from you? You can't get more pie. The pie you have is the pie you have. The only thing you can do with your time pie is decide how many slices you're going to make each day, how big they are, and who or what gets a slice. That's it. How many time pie slices you make, how big each slice is, and who or what gets a slice of your time pie. Am I making sense, folks? So you like this time pie? Thank you, Maria. So given this as a metaphor, how many of you are thinking right now, ooh, there's some parts of my life that need to have a bigger slice of pie? Drop that in the chat box if you feel like sharing. What's one part of your life that you think needs to have a bigger slice of pie? Wendy goes, I'm hungry for pie now. Sleep, Sheila, absolutely. Elaine, yourself, Ocean Nike family, Tim, it's going so fast. Reading, job search on you, school, exercise, sleep. So whatever you think needs a bigger slice, how much bigger should that be? 30 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours? Decide. Take a moment after this class and think about what parts of your life are crying for a bigger slice of time pie. And then just as an experiment, I'm not asking you to change your whole life, just as an experiment for this next week, give that part of your life that bigger slice of time pie. What part of your life deserves a smaller slice of time pie? What are you giving way too much time pie to? You're like, I need to put that part of my life on a diet, right? Social media, Nancy, mobile phone, Sheila, cell phone, Anju, TV. Yeah, I finished Netflix, all of it. Not really, but some days it feels like that, right? Netflix, right? Phone. So write this down. What's one thing for the next week, you're just going to experiment with this, that you're going to give a smaller slice of time pie to? And whatever that is, set a limit for it, whether it's TV time or social media time or Netflix or whatever. Toxic coworker, there you go. No time, no pie for you. Yes. And Alfred, you have a slice available for the unknown. You just set aside a slice of time pie for whatever, because stuff happens. So think about how much time you spend on things like sleep and work and self and family and Netflix and those other things. I'm not saying Netflix is evil. I'm just saying this is about balance and proportion. If I'm giving a huge slice of time pie to something that I don't get a huge return from, I need to put that on a diet, right? So think about how you want to divide up your time pie and experiment with that next week. Again, there's no such thing as time management. Here are 3 things that you absolutely must get a handle on, because this is the truth of what you're actually managing. Number 1, you are managing energy, mental, physical, and emotional energy. How many of you have tried to do something on your to-do list, but mentally, physically, or emotionally, you were just not there? You did not have the juice for it. Anybody? On fumes, right, Alfred? Often, right, Dave? And so here's the thing. If you don't have the mental, physical, or emotional energy for it, it doesn't matter how beautiful your schedule is. Doesn't matter how perfect your to-do list or your priority list is. You don't have the juice for it. Here's a set. So what energizes you? Spending time in nature, exercise, getting more sleep. What brings you energy? And I'm not talking about artificial stuff like caffeine and sugar. I mean, we can sugar rate and caffeinate all we want, and all that does is agitate. You crash hard after the caffeine and the sugar. Quiet time, Dave says, right? Alfred, pie. So think about what naturally energizes you. Purpose, exercise, music, love that, right? And then try to work some more of that in as an experiment this next week. Try to work some more of those things in that naturally energize you, right? Here's the second thing that you have to get a handle on. It's focus. Let's say you have the mental, physical, and emotional energy. You have this part down. Now, where do you focus that energy? Where do you focus your attention, right? Do you focus it on things that allow you to complete the tasks, that make you happy, right? That re-energize you? Or do you focus on things that are draining for you, right? Where you put your focus determines in large part how productive, how efficient, how happy you are. So what in this next week experiment needs your focus? Take a moment, jot it down. What in the next week needs your focus? Family, sleep, health, a work project, something around the house. You have something on fire you need to put out. in your life, you have something you'd like to fine tune a little bit, write down a couple of things you'd like to give some more focus to in this coming week, right? Love that. Home billing service, health, right? Write down at least a couple of things you'd like to put focus on, a little extra focus on this week. Here's the third thing. You are managing emotions. You are managing emotions, right? And so the thing to think about is what would make you happy? What would give you a greater sense of satisfaction if you check that off your list? What's something that you could start or make progress on or finish that would make you happy? Because here's the thing, most of us at the end of the day, we're not going through that big spreadsheet that says, oh, I spent 20 minutes here and 15 minutes there and 12 minutes there. No. At the end of the day, we're saying, wow, I'm really glad I got that done today. Or we're saying, oh man, I'm bummed out that I didn't get that done. Folks, that's all about managing your satisfaction, how happy you are with how you spent your focus and your energy in the space of a thing called time. Am I making any kind of sense to you all? Is this resonating? Okay. So here's one thing that you can do this week. Yes, 3 things that lead to new habits. We either have habits that support us or we spend time and energy supporting our habits. There's a difference. So somebody mentioned this earlier, and I'm going to talk about this. There's a thing called the circadian cycle, right? It's the 24-hour cycle that includes physiological and behavioral rhythms like sleeping, for example, right? We all have a different cycle. How many of you know you're morning people? That's when you have your peak energy. If you were born that way, you will die that way. You are a morning person. That's when you naturally have your peak energy. That's not everybody. Some people are kind of an afternoon person, right? They're a later in the day person. Some people, like me and Michelle, are night people. Right? So if you get an email from us at 11 o'clock at night, midnight, 1 in the morning, that's us. We're night people. If you get one 5 in the morning, that's Gary. Gary's a morning person. Leah, morning person, right? Kim, morning person. Oh, I know, Kim, isn't that horrible? You got to work 3rd shift and you're a morning person. Ooh, that's a special kind of hell. Anyway, and work doesn't help because work has this cookie cutter approach that says everybody's going to work, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, blah, 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 in a lot of places, not all jobs, obviously. So here's the thing. It's important for you to figure out when you have your peak energy in the day and when you're in the valley of your energy during the day. You're not managing time, you're managing energy. That's one of the 3 things, right? So figure out when in the day you're at your peak energy and when you're in your valley. Now, there's another thing called the Ultradian rhythms. There are actually 4 different aspects of your energetic rhythm cycle. And one of them is called Ultradian. This is a biological rhythm with a shorter period and a higher frequency than the circadian rhythms. And the theory here is that we as human beings run in 90 to 120 minute cycles, right? So there's this part where, you're going to ramp up your energy and then boom, you're at the peak and you're going to get a lot of stuff done because you got high energy. And then there's stress. And then you got to have a cool down period like athletes, right? And then you're going to ramp up again. You're going to high performance. Whoa, getting it done, checking it off the list. And then there's stress. And so you got to have a cool down again, 20 minutes, and you ramp up. And most of us do this kind of cycle throughout the day, like a fine-tuned engine. Absolutely, Alfred, right? But what some people try to do is they just try to ramp up and then just stay up all day. And that's not natural. That's not how fine-tuned machines work. That's not how human beings work, right? So we've got to understand when these peaks and valleys are for us during the day. Then here's how you apply this in your life. How do you figure this out? Do it on a spreadsheet if you have access to a spreadsheet and you know how to use one, and that's probably most of you, right? Or you can do it on a slip of paper and sticky notes, whatever works, analog or digital. Every day for the next 7 days, If you have a phone or a timer, just have an alarm on the hour from when you wake to when you go to sleep every day for the next 7 days. At the top of every hour, write down what's your energy level, low, medium, or high, low, medium, or high. Every day, the next 7 days, from when you wake up to when you go to bed, at the top of every hour, just write down low, medium, or high. What's your energy level, right? Just sit and go, how am I feeling right now? Medium energy. Okay, boom, medium energy. Chart that out, right? If you can plot it out on a spreadsheet, at the end of the week, you should be able to see what your energy cycle is, right? Now, how do you use that? You take your calendar and you start blocking off the times of day when you have your peak energy. And during those times, that's when you schedule work on your highest priority items, because you need the most juice for the most important things. Any of you ever try to do the most important things when you didn't have the energy? How's that working, right? Probably not well. So you block off time in your calendar based on your peak energy. This is called calendar blocking. So, you know, what some people do is they have a certain routine that they do, and you put it on your calendar. It's your morning routine, it's your exercise time, it's your planning time, right? That sort of thing. And then you block off the times when you're going to work on certain things. Now, what I was just sharing with you, if I know I'm a morning person and my peak time is somewhere in here, if I know this is my peak time, I'm blocking that off on my calendar every day. And you know what I'm not doing during those peak energy times? I'm not doing meetings. I'm not doing phone calls. I'm not checking email. What I am doing is I'm working on whatever my highest priority, my most important, my VIP task. That's what I'm doing when I have my peak time. The other times when I'm in my valley time, that's when I'm reading my email, or I'm answering phone calls, or I'm doing, you know, just regular mundane work that does not require my peak energy. How do we determine our energy level if we're artificially having to overcome that in the meantime because of obligations we have? What we're doing? Yeah, Melissa, it's hard. It's hard. I'm not lying to you here. You try to do this as best you can, right? I think the first step is to just be conscious of it, right? Where is my energy right now, given the artificial constraints that I'm in, right? Where is my energy now, given my current reality? Still chart it out. Then based on that, make adjustments to your time pie. What needs to get a little more energy? Maybe you need a little more sleep, right? So that gets a little more time pie. So now you have more energy to be able to do more of this kind of stuff, right? 7 days, Gary. You live a 7-day life, do a 7-day plan. Same thing on the weekends, right? I realize not everybody has a Monday through Friday schedule. Some of you don't work, some of you work weekends, some of you have, you know, night shifts or second shifts or third shifts. So I'm just sharing general outlines and schemes and strategies. Take from this what you will, see which parts of this you can apply in your life, right? We're not trying to get to perfection here. We're trying to get to progress. We're trying to get to progress. Block off your calendar, right? This is where you have to have some boundaries with some folks. Here's another thing you can do in Outlook, depending on which version of Outlook you have. You can set up rules and folders, right? You can go to your inbox, you can right-click that, and you can say, create a new folder. And what I recommend is you create like 4, 5, 6 folders for the important people and projects in your life. So I would have a folder for my manager. I would have a folder for my team. I would have a folder for key clients. I'd have a folder for other key people in the organization that I email all the time. Maybe a folder for projects, a key project that I'm working on, a key customer, that sort of thing. So when you right-click your inbox and you say new folder, just create a new folder for the VIP people. You know, Sophia, I think you get to a point, if I have like 100 folders, I'm probably defeating the purpose here. But, you know, 10, whatever makes sense for you, right? Then go to your inbox, click on one of the emails that relates to one of those folders, an email from your manager. Right click it, go to rules, choose rules, and then go down and click on create a rule. And when you go into that menu, you can create a rule that says, every time I get an email from this sender, which is my manager, automatically move it to my manager's box over here, my manager's folder over here, right in your inbox. Automatically, where's my cursor? Here we go. Every time I get an email from this person, automatically move it over here to the folder that I created for them. The beauty of this is when I open my email, I don't have to look through the 100 email messages in there to find the important ones from the important people. I simply look over here at one of the folders, at all the folders I've created, because those are the most important ones. And anything that's got a little blue number next to it tells me, oh, there's a new message in there. So if I see a new message from my boss in my boss's folder, I look at that first. So what I'm trying to do is, I can't change necessarily the number of emails that come into my inbox, maybe with some junk mail filters, but if most of the 100 emails you get every day are actually legit, then what do I do with those? I want to filter out the most important ones, and using rules and folders will help me do that. I'll go back eventually and look at the other emails in the inbox. I'm just talking about how to maximize the efficiency of my energy, right? And I do that with rules and folders. Is that helpful? Yeah, you have that junk email folder. Make use of that, Jerry. Make use of that. It's a good one, right? Here's another thing. Learn to leverage the power of now. And now is an acronym for me. It means no other when. You like that? I think I created that. The power of now, no other when. And so the thing I ask myself is, if I don't know what to do, if I haven't prioritized my day, I ask myself, okay, what needs my attention right now? Or where can I make a difference right now? Where can I have an impact in my life right now? What can I start? What can I make progress on? Or what can I finish right now? And sometimes we get a hit, we get a boost in those happy chemicals, endorphins, etc., when we check something off the list. And so if you need a little boost in your life, grab the lowest hanging fruit possible and do that. Do something that would make you happy right now. I don't care what it is. Pick some laundry up off the floor and put it in a hamper, or throw it in the washing machine if you have that. I realize I sound like I'm speaking from a certain place of privilege, and I am. I'm not oblivious to that. So whatever translates best in your world. Take the trash out, right? Clean up your desk. Respond to one email. Just do one thing. Just do one thing. Don't talk about it. Don't think about it. Don't debate it. Just right now, do one thing that you would feel just a little bit better about. And what I have found is, when I just start doing something, it tends to generate a momentum on its own. Oh, I threw that one thing away. Now I'm doing the dishes, right? Or now I'm vacuuming, or I'm dusting, or I'm sending off emails, or I'm processing invoices, or I'm going through 2 or 3 items on my to-do list. Just start now. Here's another thing that will help you manage your day, your week, your month, your life. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Ooh. How many of you have people in your life that just feels like they suck all the time and energy out of you? You have any of those people? Yes. Shoshana's like, yes, I have those people. All caps and an exclamation mark, right? Okay. They don't take the time from you. This might be controversial for some of you. They don't take time from you. You give them time. Exactly, Sabina. We're of the same mind on this. You give it to them. I'm not saying they don't deserve it, but maybe some of them, you're giving them too much time, pie. You need to put them on a diet. Drop that down. No pie for you. Or you get a sliver now. A wafer thin bite. You don't get a full slice like you used to. So with some folks, you need to say no, or you need to say, hey, I'd like to help you with that, and I can't do that right now. Here's what I can do. Hey, I'd love to help you with that, and my plate is full. Have you asked so-and-so? No soup or pie for you. Right? You can do it. It's only wafer thin, right? Thank you. So here's some tips for improving. So think about, jot this down somewhere. Who or where do you need to put a boundary in your life? This was one of the big challenges for many people working from home. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm at home now. I don't have to commute. I don't have to go anywhere. So now I can work 24/7. Who fell into that trap? I could just work any time of day. At the beginning of the pandemic, when you started working from home, I can just work any time of day. You know, you can't. You still need some sleep. You still need some you time, right? Some downtime, right? So you need, if you're working from home, or if you're doing a hybrid thing, when you work from home, you need to have clearly defined work hours and clearly defined and honored non-work hours. Yes, if there are emergencies, you handle emergencies. But if it's not an emergency, I'll get to that tomorrow. You need to wind that stuff down, folks. I had to do it at the beginning because we had to get reports to leadership regarding COVID. Yeah, I understand. Sometimes you do have to work, long hours because that's just what's needed in the moment. But don't make that your life. Don't make that, I'm going to work, all the time, every day. You don't have the bandwidth for that. You don't have the capacity for that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the express lane to burnout. So let me give you a few tips for improving your satisfaction and GSD. What is GSD? Getting stuff done. Number one, you got to prioritize, folks. You got to prioritize. And I've talked to so many people in organizations around the globe who still struggle with this. Let me test it with you. Just drop the answer in the chat box. If you have 10 things on your to-do list, 10 things on your to-do list, how many of those 10 things can be a priority? Write your answer in the chat box. 10 things on the to-do list, how many of those can be a priority? I see some of you have it right and some of you are failing. Whoever said one, you are correct. Whoever said more than one, I would invite you to go look up the definition of the word priority. Priority means something that comes before everything else. Here's what's true. Maybe all 10 of those things on your list are important. They're important. They can't all be a priority, because then your attention gets fractured. And when your attention is fractured, your focus is fractured, you're not making good decisions. Multitasking is a myth, and it leads to higher errors, and it takes you longer. Multitasking is not the holy grail. So figure out, if you could only do one of those things, which one of those do you really want to focus your time and energy on? That's your priority. Which would have the biggest impact in your life? That's your priority. Prioritize the things that are most important. Number two, schedule. Schedule everything, especially your downtime, your personal time, and family time. How many of you ever say, oh, I never have enough time. I never have enough time for me or my family or my hobbies? Anybody ever say that? If you do, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for it? Knock, knock, knock. Who's there? Free time. It's not going to show up at your house like that. You have to claim it. If you know that by writing it on your calendar, it becomes real for you, it becomes a real thing, write down your personal time. Block that off too. You block off your work time. Why not block off your family time, or your sleep time, or your friend time, or your exercise time, or your reading a book time, right? Block it off, schedule it. If you started scheduling your Netflix time, you might actually shame yourself into not spending that much time on Netflix. I'm gonna give myself 1 hour. That's it. I can watch a show. That's it. I'm not gonna binge watch an entire season. Oh, don't ask me how long it took me to finish Game of Thrones. I am not proud. Block off your, as I said earlier, your peak productivity time in the morning. Whether you're a morning, day, or night person, block off that peak productivity time. Should I block off time to cry like Holly Hunter's kid? Yes, Nancy, block that time. I can't cry now. This is called compartmentalization. It is a useful tool for focusing, especially when you're emotional. But don't stuff your emotions. I can't deal with this right now. I'm going to put it in a box. I'll come back to it later. When you have time later, open that box and then just boom, let the emotions flow. But block off your time, especially your peak productivity time. Get help. Nobody succeeds alone. I'm going to repeat that. No one succeeds alone. And I know it's harder. It's harder in the COVID era because you got, if you're trying to get help with the kids, or you're trying to get help with a project around the house or whatever, you can't just have everybody come over because, are they vaccinated? Do they have COVID? You got to worry about safety. But, where you can get help in a safe way, ask for help. Delegate, learn to delegate. If you're a people leader, manager, supervisor, or whatever, figure out what your team is good at and get that off of your plate. Learn to delegate to some folks. Well, nobody knows enough for me to delegate to them. Okay, well then teach them. Make some time to train them so that you build up their skills and capacity for you to be able to delegate to them. Learn to say no. There's no sin or shame in saying no. Now you can say it politely. Hey, I'd love to help you with that. And my plate is full. Is there someone else you can talk to? Or, hey, I can't help you with all of this. Here's what I can do. I can send you the report, right? That's what I can do, but I can't commit to working on your project, right? Learn to say no tactfully. And finally, rest. Sometimes you need to get off that wheel and just rest, right? At some point, your car is going to stop running. You can't drive your car, you need gas. Or at some point, it's going to overheat and it's going to force you to stop, right? Human beings are the same way. Sometimes you need to get off that hamster wheel of life and rest. I appreciate you doing that. Thank you so much. You finished work at 4:30, but you're still here. I so appreciate your dedication. Thank you. And if you're here from some other part of the world and it's really late or really early, thank you for being here. I want to finish with a thought here. There's a story about a college professor who goes into a classroom and he has a big jar, right? And then he pulls out some rocks and pebbles and some sand. And he asks the student, he puts some rocks in the jar and he asks the students, okay, is this jar full? And they look at it, no, it's not quite full. So then he pours in a bunch of pebbles. They go, okay, now with the rocks and the pebbles, is the jar full? And some students are like, yeah, it's pretty full. And then he starts to fill in all the little cracks and crevices in there with sand. Now is the jar full? And they're like, okay, yeah, now it's full that you put the sand in there. And this is a metaphor for life. The jar is your life, and it's the time that you spend in that life. The rocks are the activities that probably take up the majority of your time, and the things that are the most important priority for you, like health, family, relationships, right? They're part of your core value system. That's what should go in the jar first. The rocks, the things that matter most for you. COVID has also been, I think, a magnifying lens for many people. It's helped us clarify what's truly important in our lives, right? And maybe some of us have already started to shift those things around. The pebbles are things that you fit in around the rocks. They're not necessarily less important, but they may take up less time, right? Maybe the pebble is work for you. Maybe a rock is work for you, right? They're still important. So what are some of the things that you need to get done that are pebbles? What are some of the things that, represent rocks in your life? And finally, what's the sand? The sand is all the other little stuff, right? Little things here and there, daily tasks that might just take a few moments here and there, but still need to get done. So make a list of the daily activities that are represented by sand. And then as you plan your week, you don't have to do all the rocks, pebbles, and sand every day. Maybe split it out. This rock on Monday, this rock on Tuesday, this rock on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. A rock a day, 2 or 3 pebbles a day, a few sand items a day. That's another way to help you manage your time, your energy through the course of your day and your week, and hopefully have greater satisfaction at the end of it all. How can I help? What questions do you have? We got a little bit of time here. Unmute, Carly.
James, thanks so much. Before we get into questions, please do feel free to stick around, everybody. I just do want to also share a couple ways to dive deeper. If you do want to continue.
Still not hearing you, Carly.
Oh, can you hear me, James? No? James, can you hear me?
You have a second microphone button?
Let's see. It looks like everyone else can hear me.
The audience can hear?
How weird, everyone else can hear me.
I can't for some reason, and I don't know why.
All right.
Continue.
Okay. Well, for those that can hear me, how strange. For those that can hear me, I just want to share a couple of ways just to dive deeper with us. Just because I think this is one of our really most popular classes, and is one that we can all work on no matter what part of your life you're in, what part of your career you're in. So we do have this course coming up as a 2-day workshop. It's 2-hour sessions. And here are a couple of dates we have the course coming up. So if you are interested in taking the workshop yourself on your own, or you're interested in taking this with a group or your team, please reach out to me and we can work together on finding a couple solutions for you. So there's a link to view the class, as well as the recording for this session will be available in Offsite, our free live online community, and you'll get access to today's recording and the presentation slides, as well as there's live instructor help. So if you ask a question in there, we'll get back to you within 24 hours. And we also have quarterly badges of certification. So if you're attending our events regularly, we really want to reward you and thank you for being a part of that community, and also show your employer, show potential employers that you're actively working to upskill and learn new skills. So with that is my spiel. Thank you, James, if you can't hear me. I also want to thank everyone for being patient in just this transition to Zoom webinar. We're working, one of our main goals this year, my main goals, I'm trying to carve out time, is to just improve the quality of these sessions. So lucky to work with people like James. So James, thank you so much.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Any questions?
Any questions, folks? Thanks, everyone.
Somebody said, as you're speaking, it's important to get organized for action and develop systems, also organizing people around. Yeah, absolutely, Alfred. You got to get organized for yourself. And sometimes it's just about, organizing your space, having a place for everything and everything in its place to help you function well. And then you organize your day, right? What I want to get done this week. Sometimes it's helpful to have a theme for the year, right? Not necessarily a resolution, but what's my theme for the year? Is health my focus for the year? Is family my focus for the year? Is career my focus for the year? And if so, what's a specific measurable goal that I'd like to reach by the end of the year that would truly honor that vision or that value? And then what are some milestones I'd like to achieve each quarter that lets me know I'm making progress? What are some things I need to do each month to get me to my quarterly milestone? What are things I need to do each week or each day, right? So you can begin with the end in mind, as Stephen Covey says, and work backwards. How do you become motivated to do work? Jana or Jana, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your name. Sometimes it's a struggle. Sometimes it's a struggle to get motivated and to stay motivated. One of the things that sometimes helps me is partnership. So I've got some friends that'll call and I'll say, hey, do you want to do a work buddy session? Yeah. And so we'll pop on Zoom. I'm working doing my own thing. They're working doing their own thing, but we're doing it in community. And every now and then we pop up and we say hi or a little chit chat, and then we go back to work. That can be motivating for me, right? And you can do a version of that with your office colleagues. Sometimes just starting with one thing, I'm going to throw this one piece of trash away, and then I start doing the dishes, right? So sometimes just getting into action is motivating for me. And, you know, if I'm just not feeling it, if I got some stuff going on, I allow myself the space to just feel what I'm feeling and not be motivated, but set a time. I'm going to give myself the next hour to do nothing. And then I do nothing. And then when I'm done, ding, I get up and I do something. My kids say I should sell my business and spend time with the grandkids. This really stresses me out. So Lillian, there's a message there that they're trying to sell. They're trying to get you to pay attention to, right? They're saying they want more of you. Your presence in this world means so much more to them than your business does to them. So maybe you don't have to sell your business, but maybe you have to figure out a way to spend a little bit more time with the grandkids, because it sounds like they love you and they really want your time. They really value your presence in their lives, and they just want a little more of that, right? Kelly, any more tips to share on strategies for prioritization, sequential work, one priority? And yeah, so if you're doing this in a work context, have a conversation with your manager. What's the most important thing they would like you to work on, make progress on, or finish this next week or within this month, right? And I get the priority shift, but get into clarity and alignment with them about what they think the priority is, and then you align all your other goals to that priority. And when you check that off, reassess what's the next priority. Like I said, everything's important, but only one thing can be a priority at a time. If it's not a work thing, if it's a personal thing, then ask yourself or ask your family or significant other, if you have those, you know, what's important to them, what's important to you. If it's just you, what's important to you this week? What would really give you a greater sense of satisfaction? I'm not talking about achievement necessarily. I'm talking about joy. What would really make you happy, right? To be able to say, yeah, I did that this week, right? Sometimes just beingness is a thing, right? I made time for myself this week. Yay. What did I do? I just walked in nature. Woohoo. Yay. That feels great. Right. I hope that helps. Any other questions, folks? Got 3 minutes. Do I have a book? Oh gosh, Leah, do I have a book? I do have a book, actually. I'm not here to sell books, but you asked. So the book is called Follow the Signs: Lessons Learned While Traveling Life's Highway. So yeah, I have a book. What else?
You've got some big fans here, James.
I'm big fans of them. I appreciate the fact that they got up or stayed up or whatever, and they showed up. So anything else? Anything else? $41 new mat. Charge your batteries, Leah. Yay. You go. We have a new Energizer Bunny, ladies and gentlemen. It is Leah. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I appreciate all of you. I hope 2022 is a great year filled with more peace and calm and good health and all of the wonderfulness that life has available for you and your family. So on behalf of Learnit, thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you at another offsite program. Tell your friends about offsite. Get them to sign up. It's free and it's awesome. Carly does a great job with it. And sign up for a class, learnit.com. Carly?
Amazing. Thanks so much, James. And thank you again, everyone, for being here. Excited to kick off the year with all of you. And we'll see you next week around project management. We'll be doing a session around designing your work kind of more holistically. So less day-to-day, but more how you look at projects. So yeah, that'll be posted offsite as well. So thank you so much, everyone, once again, and we'll see you next week. Have a great weekend.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers.